What's going on, everyone? Andres here. Another episode of the Ponytails podcast, and we have our first. I think this is maybe Amanda Q might have been our first ever third rounder. Although Amanda never had her own official episode, so this is the first person who has been officially like a third round. So we're talking, of course, of Braxton Amundson, and I'm excited. We were on the air with him. Well, this would have been what, July. We were talking about a movie that he is one of the executive producers on, and it was getting ready to be rolled out into one of the most well-known film festivals in New York. And now the movie premiered, and we're here to talk about it. So I'm excited to have him on. A couple of announcements before I bring him on the air, though. Of course, guys, if this is your first episode, you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. We are a podcast where we interview people who sold books door to door with a company called Southwestern Advantage. That company's been around since 1865. Now, we're not affiliated with them anymore, or in any way, really, ever. But what we actually do is we interview the alumni of their internship. So people who went for 80 hours a week, 80 hours a week, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, even. Well, some of us only through Friday, depending on how schedule you were. But yeah, supposedly 80 hours a week going door to door. So, of course, you get some crazy fun stories. And we catch up with the alumni to see what they're up to now. Some of them are doing amazing things like climbing Mount Everest or starting several companies, or in this case, producing movies. So we're super excited about that to chat. Guys, we have a Twitter now. If you guys haven't heard, you probably have heard by now, but go check us on Twitter. Otherwise, go find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Leave us a review. Do the big push that we're doing this season. Please, if you want to help out, you don't have to do it financially. We won't ask you for money. We'll just, sure, we'll ask you for money, but we won't like beg for your money, but we do beg for reviews. Please, for the love of God, on my knees, leave us a review, even if it's bad. Let us know. That's good. We need haters. We would love haters. Well, actually, no, we wouldn't love haters, but we would love anybody. On that note, let's get going. I'm gonna bring my man here once in a second. Give me 10 seconds. We'll be back on Ponytails Podcast. Let's get out schedule for a sec. Talk about Will Metscher, who helps people get their own way. Move, bish. Get out the way. Go work with Will. Okay, back to work. What up, everybody? We're going to do a quick jockey spotlight with Cardinal Cedar Benefits. We're off schedule for a quick minute from the episode. Hope you're enjoying it. Take a sip of your beer. Yeah, that's good. Cardinal helps old people when they're dying because they help them with their final expense insurance. So the senior market is well taken care of for how expensive it is to die. It's a lot. Back to work. How's it going, dude?
What's up?
I want to say the last time I talked to you was the last episode, but it wasn't. It was a Bizzler, which we'll get to that. Dude, I'm drinking a Budweiser because I'm celebrating today, but yesterday, November 6th, was my 10-year anniversary of becoming a U.S. citizen.
Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Dude.
So what's more American than Budweiser beer? You know,
exactly.
What's more American than German beer? You know,
we're gonna get some apple pie and drink some Budweiser later with my wife. That's what we got going on after this. Isn't that funny? Because I was like, "What's American?" And I'm like, "Not pizza. That's Italian. The hamburgers are German." And we're like, "Apple pie? Technically, that's kind of Dutch, but we'll give it to the Americans." So here we are. Super pumped, bro. Bro, I'm excited to talk to you as well. Let's jump in because, dude, what is it like to be an executive producer of a movie? And tell me about the experience of the premiere. I'll just let you rip because you're great at this.
I will start with that. And I was talking to a couple of friends the other day, and I was like, we talk about like, hey, if you're taking advice from somebody who goes to the gym a lot and has like no muscles, no tone, should you take their advice? Probably not. If you're taking financial advice from a poor person, do they have good advice? Probably not. So we were talking about the other day. I'm like, when it comes to having a lot of social clout and it comes to like being the life of the party at a festival, I'm your guy. Like, I am 100% your guy. And I go to a party and there's so much clout in being an executive producer that there's other benefits to it. But really any reason why someone gets into the movie business is for the clout. Like there's better investments someone can make. There's better use of their time than someone can make to be in the movie business. But nothing gives you something cool to talk about at a party and makes you an interesting person at a party than being an executive producer on a film, and a Mickey Rourke film at that. Because like most people have seen The Wrestler, most people have grown up watching Mickey Rourke films. Usually people like our age or older. Some of the people that are younger are going to be like, oh yeah, I saw him in Iron Man 2. And it's like, yeah, he was in Iron Man 2. But like most people, like I was at this poker party the other day, not a poker player, but my buddy Cam brought me to this poker party. He's like, dude, there's like so many great people for you to network. Like I'm a really good networker. I'm very, very prideful in my networking skills. I'm like, if you want to learn about starting a cult, I'm your guy. If you want to learn about networking, I'm your guy. If you want to learn about being the life of the party and standing out in a crowd, I'm your guy. So he was like, dude, just go here. There's going to be people taking breaks from the poker table, and then just go to just go catch people, find out what they do, be interested in their life, and then, advocate for what you're doing too. So I'm sitting with this guy, the guy that owned the club, really cool guy. And, I was talking about this, and I'm, a point of conversation is that, yeah, I'm an executive producer on a film. Oh, who's in your film? Oh, do you know Mickey Rourke? Oh yeah, I love Mickey Rourke, and then instant credibility, oh man, this guy is the producer. I'm Mickey Rourke's boss. I paid Mickey Rourke. Well, I mean, a very little amount of money of mine probably went to Mickey Rourke, but like
still.
I'm one of the people that funded Mickey Rourke's paycheck. That's kind of cool. And so
awesome.
Number one, it's something really, really cool to talk about. So it's really exciting. The movie premiere was at Chelsea Film Festival 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, I texted you at the film festival. I was like, we need to get on the podcast.
You were on stories on Instagram. I'm like, dude, let's talk again. This is probably the earliest we could get you on here to record for this. But yeah, I was looking at it and it was like going crazy on Instagram. It was awesome.
Hell yeah. It was one of the best nights of my life. Just seeing this project that we've been working so hard on, doing the edits. I was sitting on the movie with my friends. I was sitting with the editors while they're editing the movie, and there's exactly 2 sound effects that I put in the movie. I was pretty proud of that. I was like, that's my sound effect. And just like sitting there, like watching everyone admire the art that I was involved in the creation of is really, really exciting. And I took time to go to the front of the theater about halfway through the movie to just look at the audience and see how the audience was engaging with the movie. And it was a sellout crowd. 350 seats were all filled, and they actually had to decline some people at the door because we ran out of tickets, which is really, really, really good when you're having a premiere. I'd rather it be that than begging people to come in off the street. And
let me ask you about this really quick. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm curious. Well, first of all, we should mention, because I don't think we mentioned, the movie's called Replica. You guys can Google it, go find it. We'll probably share the link to the trailer below if you guys want to get a little bit more about it. And we'll talk about what the movie is about here in a sec. We also did talk about it last time, so if you guys want to get even more details than we're going to give here, you can go check out the last episode Braxton was on. I think it was back in July. But I wanted to ask you, so what does that day look like for you? Like, you see movie premieres and you see like the things that you see on like, Jimmy Kimmel or whatever the fuck, and you see like the red carpet thing or whatever, right? But like from a standpoint of like the backstage, walk me through like what that day looks like for you. What time of the day was this? What were you wearing? Like, how were you feeling? Like, walk me through like that, because I'm curious about that personally. That's so awesome.
Good question. So, man, where do we even start? So, let's start with what I was wearing. I have this really badass Versace shirt. It's actually it's called a Finsace. I wore it at Bizzler one day.
I saw it. Yeah, it's dope.
And it's one of a kind. Well, it's not one of a kind. There's 200 made in the world. It was a limited edition release, and it costs more than I should say on the air. And I was like, obviously this is like one of the biggest moments of my life. I got to wear this. And so I was like, I got to look really, really good. And so I went out. It was a black tie event, so they won't let you in the event if you don't have like a suit jacket. They want it to be like a very like prestigious looking event, so everyone's dressed up wearing suits and ties. How I got involved, there's a couple reasons why I got involved in this project. I Number one, when you go to festivals, I was talking to some, researching, how to succeed at festivals. And really the reason why I got brought in on as an executive producer on this film is because the name of the game when you're at the festival scene, because there's so many movies going on at the same time. There's dozens of different theaters showing different films. So you want people to go to your film, obviously, because that's where, you're going to get your reviews. That's where you're going to get critics. That's where you're going to get word of mouth coming from. Oh my God, I saw this movie Replica. You should see it. So in order to get people to your film, because most people just know there's a film, there's also 10 other films going on at the same time. How do we separate ourselves from the competition? The answer is going to the parties and just making huge waves. So my friends were there and they're like, okay, if we're going to go do the festival scene, and we need to like make waves at the party, who do we need to bring on in order to make waves at the party? And it's me.
That's right, baby.
I take pride in my party abilities. I take pride in, I said, there's really three things that you should definitely listen to me on. All the other things might be a little hit or miss. If I'm talking to you about working out at the gym, take it with a grain of salt. I don't even go to the gym. My exercise is from dancing at parties. I haven't been to the gym in 3 years. So
and you burn some calories, boy. I
definitely burn some calories. I definitely burn some calories at festivals, but
I saw you at Bizzle. You're like, crazy.
Yeah, I do, but I'm not lifting weights anymore. I'm too old. No, I'm not. But if there's some things that you should definitely listen to me on, number one is how to get social clout and socially verify yourself. Instantly separate yourself from anyone's ever talked to. I really believe that some of my responses when I go door to door, when I talk to people, I want to be the only kind of door-to-door salesman that you've ever spoken to before. I want to say some stuff that people have never actually heard any door-to-door person say to them before. And they instantly go, that's different, because they're used to like the automated recorded responses. Like, hey, are you the mom? My name's Braxton. I've heard that before. I've heard a variation of that before. So I actually, I'm answering your question by going around it.
Oh, you're good, bro. You're good.
When I was going door to door, I ended up taking 6 years off door to door. And then after the pandemic, I went and sold door to door for Vivint for one summer, just to kind of get back on the feet from, the world economy collapsing. So I was going door to door, and I got so fed up with sounding like a tape recorder. I cannot sound like a tape recorder. It'll drive me crazy. And it's actually against my values and against my integrity to say just the same words over and over again, because I'm all about connection. I'm all about, listening to people, getting to know people, and not just doing something. Hey, if you say these lines, you'll make money. That's not what I'm about. So I was really bad. I went 2 full weeks without making a sale, and I was miserable. I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this right now. I can't ethically do what I'm doing. I don't know. This is a Ponytails, this is a door-to-door podcast. I'm not the biggest fan of door-to-door sales, not for the reasons you might think, but I don't like door-to-door sales because basically in Southwestern, it was, hey, talk to 30 people a day, between 3 and 5 will buy from you. And I see the inverse of that. So I'm talking to 30 people a day, say I get 5 customers. I probably pissed off about 20 people. And then five of them are pretty neutral. And then 5 buy, 5 like me. So I'm not really about pissing off 20 people per day. Like, I think I'm making the world worse that way. I'm leaving someone angry and bitter that I disturbed their day. So I'm not a huge fan of like how the door-to-door business is operated. Treating people like numbers is something that like, it hurts my soul. So I was going door to door, and I'm like, okay, one of the things, I said, there's 3 things that you should definitely listen to me on. One of them is just separating myself from everybody else and just being somebody that you haven't spoken to before. I'm not like a type of person that's shown up to your door before. So I went to my manager. Actually, it was Steve Thiden who, oddly enough, recruited Andres into
That's
Southwest.
right.
So
Shout out Steve, baby.
I remember I was sitting in his room, like at night we were doing like trainings, and I'd go into his room and I was really trying to do well. I swear to God, I was trying. There's something that I'm doing when I'm working. It's trying to succeed. I was doing everything I could. And I walked up to Steve and I'm like, I can't do this. And I ripped up my sales talk. I was like, I cannot do this, Steve. I can't. I'm not quitting. I'm not leaving the office, but I'm not doing the job the way that I'm being trained to do. I just can't do it. I was like, do you trust me? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give what I'm about to do a go. I'm not wearing my uniform to work. I'm wearing some badass blazer. I wear these. I have these really cool jackets that I wear. I was like, I'm wearing this really badass blazer. I'm going to dress up really nice, and I'm going to do the job the only way that I know how to do it, which is by having fun with people, being authentic, and saying something different that's going to just redirect their mind and open their mind to something new. I'm not talking to 30 people a day. I'm going to talk to 3. And I was like, I took my book. I'm an author, just like you. I'm an author, and I brought my book. I didn't hand out my usually like I'd hand out like a slick that has like all of our products on it. I didn't have that. I had that in my bag, but I would hand them my book. I would knock on the door and I would say, hey, Andres, my name is Braxton Amundson. I'm actually a published author. Here's my book. I actually was just sitting around at home during the pandemic. Everyone's been super affected one way or another. And as an author, as a personal development coach, one of the number one things that I thought was important is to just check in with people and see how they're doing in the community, because everyone's been affected one way or another. I'm sure you're no different. And, we'd have a connection, we'd have a conversation. And I then said, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Simon Sinek, start with why. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. What I'm selling, what I'm doing is actually working with Vivint. You've probably seen like the smart home cameras. They were so much more open to listening to what I had to say when I started with my why than when I started with my what. And that first day, after selling nothing my first 2 weeks, I had 3 customers, 3 sales. I talked to 3 people. I sold all of them. And it was so funny. Like, I was having so much fun with people. Like, I knocked on a door one time. The guy came out and he was like, I'm not interested. And I just asked him, what's that like? And he was like,
that's awesome.
He was like, what do you mean? I was like, what's it like to not be interested? That must suck. And
you said that?
Yeah, I said this.
Oh, shit.
This curious look on his face. And I was like, I want to know, because I'm interested in everything. It's not relatable for me to not be interested, because I'm interested in literally everything. I'm even interested right now in your lack of interest. And that's how much I want to know right now, because this is so unfamiliar. And I blew his mind. And I go inside and I'm like, did I earn your sale? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, he didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, did I earn your sale? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, do you want me to tell you about it, or do I just sign you up? And he's like, just how much is it? I'm like, it's $75 a month. He's like, okay, just sign me up. You earn $75 a month. I was like, okay. So I sign up. He doesn't even know
what's that like.
What's that like to not be interested? I want to know. So
that's great.
That's one of the things I'm extremely good at, is just the next guy comes out, what do you want? And I'm like, I just want people to be kind to each other. Like, thank you for asking. What is it that you want? And it's like the same thing. I'm like, okay, you have to buy now. Like, you're mean.
Like, give me your money. That's the kind thing to do now.
Just having fun with people.
After you yell at me.
If there's one thing I'm good at, it's separating myself from people. If there's another thing I'm good at, it's standing out in a crowd and going to a party. Last night I was at a festival. Sorry, I was a little late on our Zoom call.
Nah, it's all good, brother.
I was at a festival last night. I was dancing. I pretty much dance every night. And when I'm in the zone, I like take control of the crowd. Like, it's a straight up performance. Like, it might be ego, maybe, I don't know, whatever. But I posted last night. I'm like, when I'm at a festival or party and you ask who was performing, the answer is me. I was performing. Everyone else was just a backup act. I was the main attraction. Like that's just my
At
mindset.
Bizzler, that was you were like the first act right there at Bizzler. You were part of the show.
That's my
I cut
mindset.
the bongo.
That's my mindset when I go. I am the life of the party. I am instantly making whatever I'm doing. Like I was in Argentina 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I stood on top of a picnic table. Someone was like, "Hey, do you know this DJ?" I'm like, "No, I don't know this DJ. It's not my job to know DJs. It's their job to know me." And I stood on the table. I was giving this whole speech about like why the DJs need to know me, why I'm the most important person of the party. The whole speech is in English. So everyone there, no one speaks English in Argentina. They're all just cheering for me. I'm just like saying the most egotistical, arrogant shit that you've ever heard. And they're just like, yeah. I'm like, I'm the one that you need to know. So it's a mindset, I guess. I don't know if it's healthy or not healthy. We'll leave that to the audience to determine. But it's the mindset that I have when I go into something, and I think it's why I'm successful. It's why the things that I do turn to gold, because it's the mindset of like what I'm doing is valuable. You should listen, and it's not like I have an energy, a charisma about me that like just demands attention, and like I believe a lot of times when I'm speaking, people listen. So again, number 2 is you should definitely take advice from me when it comes to partying and and standing out in a crowd. And then you should absolutely take advice from me on fashion. So with all that being said, I was brought onto this movie because we're going to the festival scenes. And the biggest way to make waves to get people to show up to your movie is by just making a complete scene. Oh my God, this guy is having a blast. He's the life of the party. I want to be doing what he's doing. What project are you with? Oh, I'm here with Replica. Oh, that's great. So instantly they're like, when I see Replica, that better be one of the movies I go to. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's why I got brought on.
And then coupled with the other 2 things, it's like it's a good mix.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just like I'll have you interested. I'm interesting enough to have your attention, and then I'm captivating enough to keep it. So there's a book guy. Maybe I won't say a name, but he was a very popular topic of conversation on Bizzler. He is definitely interesting enough to gain your attention, but he is not captivating enough to keep it. And I'm like, you're doing actually the hardest part. The hardest part is
grabbing people.
Yeah, getting people. But like, then you have to learn how to keep them. How to keep their attention, keep them engaged. This guy has no clue. We love him though. We love him to death. And so at the event, it was so great because my role was basically just partying. Was just
go be Braxton.
Go be Braxton. Go meet people. Go do your thing. Go light people up with joy and smile, and then go tell them what you're doing, and people
come check this out.
Yeah. So my role was nothing. Every executive producer has a different part. So some are brought in for fun.
What up, everyone? Off schedule story, really quick. The average agent at Cardinal Cedar Benefits earns about $5,000 per week. It's pretty badass. So, on that note, yo, ponies. Off schedule moment. Everybody loves Property Brothers. Some people for the looks, some for real estate. If you're the second or both, you should become a Property Brother sister over at Southwestern Real Estate. Can't promise that you'll look good, but you'll sell a lot of houses. Okay, back to work.
Funding, which obviously I brought in some funding too, but some people are brought in for bringing on talent. So there's an executive producer role where, hey, I have a crap ton of really good Hollywood connections. I can get you in touch with, in this case, Mickey Rourke. I can get you in touch with Nick Turturro, Noel G. Some household names in the movie business that you've.
Noel G's the shit. He's awesome.
Yeah. So he's one of the main characters in our movie. He was great.
I want to watch this film now.
Yeah. So there was a guy that's executive producer on the film. What he brought to the table was his connections to Hollywood actors. So everyone has a different role, and everyone's role is important. You can have the best movie in the world. Movies are just like art. So you can be the best singer in the world. You can have some really great songs, but if you don't have like the branding, if you don't have like the name brand recognition and no one hears your work, you're not going to make it very far. So there's so many really great singers, really great speakers, really great movies that are out there for people to watch that no one ever sees because they don't have the complete top to bottom package. So all of it's necessary.
Right.
And
Yeah.
all of it's necessary, and all of us like play our part. So I
In
was like,
fact,
yeah, go
in
ahead.
fact, being a good movie sometimes isn't even part of it because there's plenty of shit movies who have everything else and they get commercial success
Yeah,
because they had everything else.
look up Adam Sandler's career.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
It's like,
I will
God,
say Hustle that just came out was amazing on Netflix, but Adam Sandler is he's a A+ list actor that has at best a
no
C+.
good movies.
Yeah, with the exception of
Big
Hustle.
Daddy.
Hustle was really, really good. The rest of his movies are C+ or B-. Like they're mediocre.
Yeah, they're okay.
And
Yeah.
he's branded so well. His Happy Madison brand is so good that everyone watches. I think I've seen every Adam Sandler movie. I think I have. Like they're all entertaining enough to watch, but not enough for me to like be a raving fan of. But
They're not captivating.
they're not captivating. And so like just what you said, like you can have the best movie in the world, and in fact, like some of the worst movies in the world are successful because they just happen to be branded right. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I got to show up. I got to turn people's heads. Like, it's my job to turn people's heads. So, I'm wearing this Fendi Versace shirt. Wearing this thing. I actually just produced a short film. Won't talk too much about that. It's really in the smaller process, but I was the lead executive producer on the short film. So that means I was the person that funded the most money, and I showed up to the shoot. And the director, Paulie's the director on both films. And
Paul Tully, yeah.
Paul Tully, yeah, that's his name. We love him. And I show up to the shoot like 4 hours late, and because I'm an executive producer, like it's they don't even, most of the time they don't even go to the projects. They might just go and say hi and leave. So I show up 4 hours late to the shoot. I was wearing whatever clothes I wear, and I go in and I'm like, hey, what's up? And like, oh, this is Braxton. They're like, oh, you're Braxton. I'm like, yeah, I'm just sitting on set here. I was like, hey, can I get a chair real quick? And they're like, yeah. And they bring me this chair, and I'm like, can I get a taller chair? And they're like, yeah, sure. They go out and they switch out, and I get a taller chair. And Paul comes out, and he's like, I've never seen someone before just show up as a better executive producer shows up than you have. Like, you show up 4 hours late. You're wearing clothes that like no one's ever seen a human being wear before. And then you go in like you're the most important person in the world. You ask for a chair, then ask for a taller chair. And he's like, literally, he's like, as soon as you left, everyone, like, we had to stop filming for everyone to be like, who's that guy? And he's like, their confidence. And these are all things that I didn't quite understand about like the executive producer's role. I am the one this is their art. The actors, the director, all the the music, the camera people, they don't do what they do for the money at all. Like they don't care about the money. They care about getting their works of art in the hands of people. And so when I rolled in the way that I rolled in, like I just wanted a taller chair. Like I wasn't like trying to think that I was the most important person in the room. I just wanted a taller chair. And he's like, the way you just like demanded that people like listen to everything you say, it made the actors so much more confident that their piece of work will get into the right hands. He's like, if you're demanding like that type of attention there, he's like, you're the one, I'm the lead executive producer on a film. So I'm the one that's at most risk if the movie doesn't get seen, if the movie doesn't sell. I'm the one that's, my money's liable. And they're like, we want this guy in charge of getting this work out. He's the one that's financially attached to it. We want him to be in charge of our film. So that I didn't. These
Yeah,
are some things that I
they
didn't
have the
quite.
responsibility to you,
Yeah,
and they feel like they feel accountable because of that. That's dope.
I I'm going into this like I walked onto the stage going, "Oh, I get to meet these really cool actors. Oh my god, I get to meet these really cool." Like I'm thinking that they're the stars, right? Like I'm just like, "Oh my god, like they're the one." I'm like, "This is really cool that I can be on set with them," and they're thinking, "Wow, we get to be on set with this guy." And that was it was a really humbling experience for me to actually like take a look at myself and see that like I'm their project is in my hands right now. I can decide at any given time, given that I own, the majority of the movie, I can decide at any given time when we stop putting this work out. Hey, we're actually just pulling the plug on the project, and I'm going to cut my losses, but it's not worth our time or energy to continue pursuing a movie deal. So no one wants to hear that. No one that put time and energy, even if they got paid for their work,
Right.
nobody wants to hear that their project, their work of art got halted
Yeah.
because the investor decided that it wasn't worth his time or energy. So that was a really interesting, I guess, realization that I had when I was going through this is like how important my role is on the film, other than just hey, here's some money, other
Right.
than hey, here's I want to be part of a cool project. I'm actually like
Yeah.
people's livelihoods, people's dreams are at my fingertips. Um,
And
so
And with that too, like, because you always hear about, people talk about producers and like, in movies, right? You hear a lot of people make a big deal about directors, right? Christopher Nolan and Quentin Tarantino, and you hear about the producers. Oh, this was produced by this, but you don't really know and understand the scope of that until like you realize what you're describing here, which is like this is really what fuels the car. If the movie making process is a vehicle, like it's a car, the fuel is production, right? The director's at the wheel, right? And the actors are what make the car look pretty. You know what I'm saying? And then the road itself is the script. But like to make the car go, you need you need the producers. Like if without that, it's you have a okay producer and a or a great producer and an okay director, and the movie still does well. Versus the other way around, no, that doesn't work like that. You're providing people with the opportunity to do their art, and that's you're investing in their talent all across the board to make sure that, or to at least do your part, making sure that this project is as successful as possible. And that's huge. I hadn't realized that until you just described that. That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was
That's
it
dope,
was
man.
it was something that I literally didn't understand until I asked for a taller chair. Like that was all I did. I was like, "Can you get
Yeah,
a
I
taller
know,
chair?"
but that realization with something that simple is
It
crazy.
was something that simple. It's like you came in and
Yeah.
just demanded that like I'm the most important person in the room, and it was really interesting because I was on set last week, so I was actually had a role in the movie too, which is really fun. It's
Ah,
the movie,
nice.
the movie is filmed only in Spanish. It's called Santa Lucia. It was filmed only in Spanish. It's a 25-minute short film, and I played this party guy at a bar. I was the only white guy in the whole movie, and I played this party guy in the bar. I was setting the scene for the main actress to come in, and she walked. It's a scene in the bar. I'm talking to the bartender in like really jumbled Spanish. I'm just like necesito Biro, Biro, no, not Biro, cerveza, and I'm like, amigo, tequila para los todos. And he's like, here, get out of here. I'm like, oh, he speaks English, like, I walk off the scene, and then the actress comes in. So that was my role in the movie, and it was really fun, like being on set, and we were filming last week, and it was so interesting. Like during the downtime, all the actors were coming up and they were asking me questions about my life, what I do for a living, and all this stuff. And I was like, are they interested? Because like a lot of times in like the movie business and the arts business, a lot of times people are very attached to titles, and people are
Mm.
very attached to like some kind of clout that you bring. So I'm just like, are they interested in me because they're interested in me, or are they interested in me because they think that I have some kind of clout? And the answer was probably both. Probably,
I was gonna ask you, what do you think it is? Yeah.
probably a little bit of both. But
Mm.
I was like, I was so humbled by, like how really cool the people that were on set with me were. They, I feel like I made like 30 new friends that day. And, it was a low budget film. The low budget film was part of it was funny too. We had a $25,000 budget as Replica had a $2 million budget. So
That's crazy.
a little bit different. Like like they're counting like every single expenses. I was getting food for the team, and they're like, make sure you only get ham and cheese or turkey and cheese, and you don't get like the premium subs. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, really, really,
No,
really?
no extra mayo. Don't do it.
Yeah,
And do not get the guac for that.
do not get the guac. Absolutely not. But yeah, it was a little bit different. But I was like, man, like this is, there's stages of where people are. There's the stage where like someone like Mickey Rourke is. There's a stage where you have an entry level actor and actress. And I was been learning about the movie business. Like, hey, we're doing it. I'm like, I don't mind giving some money to this short film. How am I going to make money on the distribution of a 20-minute film? I've never watched a 20-minute film. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think
I don't think so.
I don't
Me
think you've
neither.
ever watched a 25-minute film.
Mm-mm.
It's not a TV show. It's a full story, 25 minutes. And they're like, "Oh, so this is how this works. So you make a short film, then you go to the festivals, and that's basically your idea. It's your idea of a feature film." So most movies, like Toy Story was an example where it started as like a small idea. It started as a 12-minute short film. Someone saw the movie, saw the potential of making it into a feature film, invested in the movie. Everyone that was involved in the short film made loads of money on Toy Story. So
Right.
he was like,
That's
how you make,
crazy.
the general public is never going to see the movie we filmed last week. Only a couple people are going to see it, but then we'll refilm a feature film, and maybe we'll probably use like the same actors and actresses from the larger film. But then I was like, that's how it goes. I was like, that's an interesting part of the movie business that I didn't know before that. Like, you don't spend
You
two,
know.
$3 million on an idea first. You spend $25,000 on an idea, then you get the funding from larger people. Once you have someone that's really confident in the direction they can take it, then they invest into the larger portion of it. So it's been a really interesting like topic of conversation. Again, like I have a lot of clout. I love the clout aspect. I definitely have.
Yeah.
I definitely
You
like
thrive in that.
I
You thrive
definitely
in that,
like the
dude.
clout. I love going to a party and saying I'm a producer on a Mickey Rourke film. Like, instant credibility. Hey, I go into, there's always that, everyone's kind of sizing themselves up, and I'm like, look, you don't know, I'm not going to size you up, but like you don't, but don't size me up, because like, if we play that game, I'll win. I was like, I
You
will
meet
win.
like a NASA, unless you meet like a NASA astronaut or like a Formula One pilot, but yeah,
Yeah,
executive
yeah.
producer on a
I'm
movie
like,
with people with like well-known actors from Hollywood. That's pretty
yeah.
solid.
So it's. I think I was saying this off air at the beginning of it. It's people that get into the movie business, they get in for the clout. And there's better investments that I could have made with my money or my time. There's more sure returns that I could get on my investment. But a big part of it is, hey, I'm going to invest in some money, and I intend on making most of my money, or doubling my money, or hopefully tripling my money. I would like that, but we're also going to have a blast being part of a project, and that's where it's really cool. Like, that's the part where it's like, hey, I am part of a project, and we're going to go to all these festivals. We're going to meet all these really cool people. We're going to go, go network, go meet some people, and it's going to be the time of our life. So that's why people would get into the business, and it's something you do have to have a passion for. I got into Replica. I think I said this on the last podcast. I got into Replica because I love the story.
Hmm.
I love what the movie's about. I love. I don't consider myself a woke person. I don't like woke now has like a stigma to it, where it's like the person
Yeah,
overly woke. They're actually like, they might have some
it's
really good ideas and good beliefs, but they're actually shoving them so far down your throat that they're actually doing worse for the movement.
Right.
unfortunately that is like, hey, sometimes what you stand for is great, but how you're standing for it is very, not so great. And the unfortunate truth is, I was telling people a lot about the movie. We have a transgendered lead actress. Alexandra Gray is a transgender lead actress. She was great. I actually stayed in my Airbnb during Chelsea Film Festival. I got to spend a lot of time with her. She was really cool. And
Nice.
a lot of people, when they hear like the transgender lead, they think, oh my God, this is going to be like a movie where they're just shoving like the transgender like ideology
Right.
throat. That's not true at all. Like, I was actually in line, and someone was talking, like Replica came up. I was networking with someone, and they're like, I'm like, do you know anything about Replica? And I was talking to these two ladies, they're probably in their 50s, and they're like, all I know, it's some transgender movie. And I'm like, not really.
Oh,
Like,
no, it's not.
it's not
Mhm.
really. It's a crime movie. It's a crime movie. It's an action movie, and the
Yeah.
transgender part is a very, very small part of the movie. Like, yeah, there is definitely a transgender role in it, but like when you watch the movie, it's it's there. It's
It's
there.
it's it's about removing those. Well, here I got it. I got it pulled up. I pulled it up earlier. I think I have it here. An African American trans woman gets accidentally stranded in L.A. and becomes engulfed in a gritty world when she's introduced to a neo-Nazi meth dealer. They begin falling in love just as they find themselves prey of some other drug dealers. So the crazy part is that the thing about, like, to your point, is it's not about trans people. It's not about some political movement or like motivation that you have to try to display and like jump in people's faces and be like, this is nothing. It's not. No, it's a crime drama. It just happens that one of the characters and actresses in it is a trans woman, and
Yeah,
that's
it just
okay.
it's not.
It's totally okay.
I don't consider it a transgender movie. I consider it a movie that happens to have a transgender actress in it. Like,
Yep.
it's just a little
No,
bit
that's
different,
exactly right.
you know.
Yeah.
And like, there's some people that, like, there's so much judgment there. Like, I love nothing more than when people think that I'm gay. I think it's so funny. Um, I wear my little like headpiece, and I dress very flamboyantly, and I do. Number one, I think it's funny, but number two, like, the deeper part of it is, someone will ask me like what my sexuality is, and I'm like, are you interested in sleeping with me? Because really, that's the only way, the reason why that should matter. And like people,
Yeah.
I'm like, I just showed you how judgmental you are by by asking me that question in the first place. So I love like like checking people, like, right, that where it's like, it really doesn't matter. Like none of that matters. And people here, like, especially with like the transgender community, like, it's a tough life. It's a really tough life. I think 40% of transgendered people attempt suicide in their life or do commit
That's
suicide.
so wild.
It's it's
Yeah.
it's it's an,
I think
it's an
it's attempt.
alarming it's an
Yeah.
alarmingly high number. It's a very high number. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's something that, like, the unfortunate truth is that the woke ideology right now is actually probably making it harder
Yes.
for the trans people, because they're trying to shove a narrative down your throat, and they're trying to make like backwoods Christian people like accept it, where in
That's right.
reality, the all you need to do is say, hey, there are people, and all people are really fun, all people are amazing. You don't have to, like, hook up with them. You don't have to, whatever, but just give people a chance. Like, I was dancing last night, and I was having the time of my life. And, I do the whole thing where the whole crowd is like recording me. And I'm like, I love
Right.
that. Love it.
What's
Uh,
that, Bizzler?
I love it. But I was dancing last night. This old guy comes up, probably in his 60s. Just, this old guy, and he was just, he came up and started dancing too. And I'm like, I'll entertain him. I was like mirroring his horrible dancing. We're dancing around in a circle. Like I was having fun with him. Then there's two girls. They're like 6'2", like obviously like transgender, they come up and they start dancing. I'm like, I'll entertain them. It's just all these things. Like people want all we have to do, like really our only responsibility to other people in humanity is to make people feel valued. Like that's it.
Right.
It's like
Because they are.
how hard is that?
Yeah.
How hard is that to like have fun with people? Like it's just like, this old guy, like he wanted to have fun. I was going to have fun with him. Then these two girls come up, wanted to have fun with them, and it's like that's all we're doing. Like think about like Jesus is a perfect example. Like Jesus is an example. Like he hung out with all the tax collectors, the sinners, all those people, because those are the people that were the outcasts of society. Those are the people that need love the most. And like how hard is it just to like bring a smile to someone's face? Like, is that too much to ask? Like, really, is that too much to ask that there's a person here in the world and my only thing that I need to do is put a smile on this person's face? Like, there's some people, like, you never know what people are going through, like, ever.
Yeah, dude. This reminds me a little bit of the Louis C.K. bit when he talks about cell phones, but it's the same application for like how to treat other people. Because I live in Portland, so when you're talking about how like the woke movement is definitely making it harder it's making a harder barrier to entry for understanding and acceptance of an entire community like this. I see it firsthand, day to day here. At the same time, there's a ton of transgender people in Portland. And so you just learn to be okay with it, because like I came from Nebraska, right? I grew up in Grand Island for the most part. And like you don't see that there. You don't see transgender people, generally speaking, regularly frequenting, the bar or whatever in Grand Island, Nebraska. But in Portland, it's like it's just they're just part of a community, as it should be. So I see both sides where it's like, hey, I understand that you're a person and that you have value and that you're having a human experience just like the rest of us, and that's totally no problem. And then there's people who are trying to fight it so hard that it almost by default like fucks it up for the whole acceptance of it, because it's just so intense and so stubborn that it makes people want to be stubborn instead of open. So it's like not having a buying atmosphere, to tie it back to books, if you will, right? It's got like a door-to-door person going, buy this. You're like, what the fuck? Get the hell out of my porch, right? Like it doesn't work that way, and it won't ever work that way. So it's exactly what you're saying. It's just, hey, people just want to feel valued, right? People are like, oh, transgender people are ruining this country. No, how shitty is your shitty life that's what you fall to when you haven't, like, have you talked to a person? Have you heard their experience? Have you known what they've lived through? No, just like anything else, right? It's not that the transgender movement sucks. It's just that your life sucks around the transgender movement, and so you're wanting to put blame on something for that. And so then that's what happens. And it's also sad that it's not like that you feel that way, because you're missing out on meeting a really cool person potentially. Now, that being said, there's transgender people that suck, just like there's Hispanic people that suck, and then there's white people that suck. Well, we all know that, but there's, you know what I'm saying? like, you know what I'm saying? So that's, sucking is a human experience. Being a shitty human is a human thing. It's not like a transgender thing, or it just, so yeah, it's statistically speaking, you're gonna bump into some shitty ones across. But in that same light, there's great white people, right? There's great Hispanic people. There's great transgender people. There's great transgender Hispanic people, right? And there's space for those humans, and I say humans intentionally, at the table, if you're just willing to just be like, hey, what's your name? And let's just get, what makes you cry? What makes you laugh?
I'm like, so interested in all the stories. Like,
what hurts? What feels good to you? What makes you excited? What gives you life? What makes you wake up out of bed? And really get to know people that way. And oh my God, how far could we get? I mean, forget the transgender movement and just talk about it in general. Like, how far could we get? Now we're getting all philosophical here, but that's just how I see it after being here for a while. It's just like, I totally hear what you're saying. The movement is so intense that it's hard. And it's hard. Like, you feel like you're on eggshells often. And I'm living that day to day. On the other hand, I've met tons of transgender people. I'm like, man, it's fucking, you're a human being. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, child, whatever. You're a fucking great human being. And it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter who you like or you don't like. It's just a human experience, and that's just fine. So
one of the hardest struggles that's actually depicted in the movie is it shows a woman, in this case a transgender woman, that falls in love with a man who's also in love with her until he finds out that she's trans, and then there's this huge blow up. And one of the problems and one of the hardships that the transgender people face is is I am a transgender person. I'm a a member of the LGBTQ plus community that is interested in heterosexual men, right? So that's hard there, because now the movie also shows like the heterosexual man having to reshape his whole mindset and his whole beliefs. Oh my God, does this make me gay? Does this make me this? Does this make me
yeah.
that? And and that's that in itself. Like we're all out here searching for love. Congratulations, Andres is married. He found his person. Yay!
I'm just looking for
Yes,
somebody to love.
congratulations. The rest of us are all just out here looking for our person, and
Knock, knock, hello. Off schedule story. Nick Dale, episode 168. He tells us about how cool it is to work at Cardinal, and when he was selling door to door, how he ran into a guy with a foot fetish. More on that episode 168. Go check it out. Knock, knock. Last off schedule story. Guys, I want to tell you about my good friend Alex Black. I used to work over at EnLight.Energy, and it was a pleasure working with him and that entire company. Definitely would recommend you guys check out what that opportunity is. It was a great way to make money, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences I had to help people take ownership of their power. It's pretty cool. So, on that note, let's finish up this episode. Bye.
it's there's no room for judgment there. There's especially in judging myself. Oh my God, is this person hot enough? Is are they successful enough? Are they this? Are they that? Are they that? And it's like, if I'm happy with the person and we're growing together, the rest shouldn't matter. And it's actually depicted in all the hardships that are faced there, where it's like, one of the lines she said, I thought you knew, until like he started saying like a lot of homophobic stuff, and then she stormed out, and he had no idea why she stormed out. And she came back later and explained, she's like, I thought you knew, until you started saying all that crazy stuff about all this stuff. Then I just couldn't be around. I couldn't be around it. And she's like, maybe I did just want to live the fairy. She says, maybe I just wanted to live a fairy tale. Maybe I wanted to be accepted for who I was just one time. And it's like, man, like, how real is that? Like, how real is that?
How is that? That's a real human experience, regardless of your gender or your race or your whatever. Like, it's so, like, I just wanted to be fucking loved.
Yeah, and it's like,
God damn it.
and it's
That's a
like,
lot.
I recently lost like 35 pounds. Like about a year ago, I went on a trek to lose. I lost 35 pounds and I gained 15 back. So net down 20. Yes. Yeah.
Help us.
Yeah. But
good heart condition probability. That's great.
I was judging myself on, am I sexy enough? Like, do I look good enough? And, I want to be with the hot girl. I want to be, seen with the hot girl. But I'm like, maybe I can convince the hot person to like me, even though I'm not a hot guy. And, maybe I'll have charming enough of a personality where she'll stick around. Right. That's where my charm came from. I was like, I got to do something. I'm an overweight guy. I'm not gonna, whatever. And once it's interesting, because once I accepted myself for who I was and I was confident in my own skin, what do you know? The weight came off. It wasn't the weight came off when I accepted myself. And I had some surgery a year ago. I had gynecomastia surgery. I don't know if you know what that is. It's basically it's breast reduction surgery for men, where like men, it's almost like 50% of men have it, where they have like to develop breast tissue. Are you checking? Where they
I got them titties.
Yeah, they develop breast tissue, and there's actually,
I just said that on the air.
Right. There's no way to get rid of it. It's impossible. Like, you can eat as healthy as you want, you can work out as much as you want. That breast tissue is not going to go away without surgery. So I was like, okay, I want to get surgery. I have some, some money saved up. I have some time. I was in Colombia, and I'm in Colombia now, actually.
What? You didn't tell me this.
I did now. I didn't think about
Brad,
it. I'm in
where in
Medellin.
Colombia are you? Like, you said
Medellin.
this to me as we have to close. You're telling me this
Yeah,
as we have to end this episode.
but
God damn it.
I was in Colombia. That's funny. I was in Colombia, and I was like, okay, I'll get this surgery. It's not expensive here. I looked
And
up.
it's their like world class
Yeah.
doctors for these kinds of surgeries there to
Yep.
add and to reduce.
I'm
Yes,
saving
100%.
$8,000 doing it here versus
Yeah.
in the US
Yeah, dude.
because we
Dude,
sue all the time.
Medellin specifically. It's like I think it's
Oh,
like in the top. It might be that this is a misquote totally, but I think it's like the plastic surgery capital of the world.
that should be
Or, some,
true. I
or
don't.
it's in the top 5. It's just like it literally is like now.
It's
Some of the women
definitely
there are naturally beautiful, but damn, there's and what? And I'm not gonna say it. This is gonna sound. I gotta be careful how I say this. What we can traditionally consider to be beautiful and unattractive, right? Within the spectrum, the ugly chicks there are like tens in California, like in Medellin. Medellin has some of the most beautiful women in the world. This is not an opinion, no bias. Go Google it. Well, actually, don't Google it. You might find some crazy shit, or Google at your own will, at your own risk. But yes.
But yeah, so I was like, look, I'm gonna get some surgery, and I'm a huge proponent on personal development work. I'm a huge proponent on all this stuff, and I learned about OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So I watched a show based on OCD, and there's a woman that when she drives a car, she'll go like 2 blocks and she thinks she hit someone, and she'll pull over and make sure she didn't run someone over. Then she'll get back in her car and keep driving. Like her OCD is like anytime she hits a little bump, she's making sure that it wasn't a person she hit. So the doctor said if she stopped driving, they're like, oh, if she stops driving, then she won't have that, that tick anymore. The tick will just attach to something else. Like there'll be something else that it'll
compulsion.
it'll gravitate to if she stops driving. So no different than with the surgery aspect. You can't surgically remove an insecurity. So I could get the surgery on my gynecomastia, but if I have, some kind of insecurity, that insecurity is just going to, catch on somewhere else. So I was like, I'll do the surgery, but I'm going to make sure that I do the surgery in a way where I'm also like mentally prepared to work on the insecurity aspect of it too. Because like the surgery is something that I wanted to do, but I also want to make sure that like I'm not. That's the reason why people get addicted to surgeries. They spend millions and millions of dollars
Michael Jackson
surgically perfecting their body because it's not. They're not solving the insecurity. It's almost like you're cutting grass. You cut grass at the surface, it grows right back. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm also going to do work on myself. So I'm going to do work on and I let those insecurities go. And lo and behold, once I loved myself, I lost a bunch of weight and I was super happy with what I look like. So, there's so many proponents of life that like we have the opportunity of, growing ourselves and engaging. Like I was telling Andres a little bit ago, I literally started my own MLM. It's been so crazy.
I heard about this. I wanted to get into this. I was like, we might argue about this, and it's been a while since I argued with someone on the air, so I'm like, let's do this. But damn it, dude, wait, tell me this now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had this idea.
I have to hop off in like 2 minutes.
I found myself backed into a corner, and I'm like, I need to make another source of funds. I was like, I do Airbnb business in Florida, and it's hurricane season. I'm not making a lot of money. It's a slow season. The winter comes by, it's really good, but I'm like, I need to figure out how to make some extra money. And I'm like, okay, I can pull like a rabbit. I'm really, really good with pulling like rabbits out of the hat and just, generating things. Like I told a friend, I was like, metaphorically, it's like, I have like investors that are invested in my business, and, they're like, we haven't gotten a return on investment in 2 months. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't control the market, like I don't control Cat 4 hurricanes hitting my state. I have no control of that. Yeah. And I'm like, people are like banging down my door being like, when are we get our returns? I'm like, I promise you soon, just not yet. And I'm like, it's like I'm a spacecraft pilot. I did a voyage into outer space, and now we're entering back into the atmosphere. And as we enter the atmosphere, the engine explodes, the wings fall off, and like we are soaring 9.8 meters per second squared to the ground. And everyone, I'm in the back. I know I'm going to land this plane. Like I've landed this a million times before. I've been in worse situations and we've come out completely fine. Like I'm not worried at all. But everyone in the back is like freaking me out, and it's actually like causing me to like not focus on what my job is, which is to get to the ship to safety. And I'm like, I know I'm going to land this plane and we're all going to be fine. You guys have some water back there. You have a couple snacks back there. Just enjoy the ride. I've done this a million times before. Like, Braxton, we don't have an engine. Our parachute burnt up when the engine exploded, and now we have no wings on our spaceship. We are all going to die. I'm like, I promise you we're not. And out in the distance, I'm like, just, you're fine. Just relax. Just relax. And we're like, what are you talking about? Just relax. We're going to be safe. No problem. And out in the distance, the sky blackens, and we look out and we're like, what is that coming? And it's millions and millions of seagulls flying towards us. And the seagulls put themselves under the ship, and they stabilize it, and they lower us safely down to ground. Like, I told you guys we're going to be fine. So anyway, I started this business. That was a weird metaphor. But I started this business because I was like, those were my seagulls coming out of nowhere. And I was like, I started this business. I'm in the cash exchange business now. And I basically found an opportunity for people to partner with me and make some passive income as we grow our business and we have more avenues coming out. And I haven't really spoken with a bunch of like Southwestern people, and quite, with the exception of Bisler. Bisler's when I kind of like reconnected with my Southwestern roots. I hadn't really spoken with a bunch of Southwestern book kids. And then lo and behold, who shows up but armies of book kids going, we want this opportunity for ourselves. I just constructed this whole like MLM format where I was like, I made 25 grand in my first month, just, like bringing on partners. I'm like, I can structure it so that everyone can succeed this way. And
be careful. Be careful. Oh, dude.
Anyway, I tell people, like, I'm a huge proponent on integrity. I'm a huge proponent on, on doing things that are consciously good and just. So no differently than like, hey, if I personally think that homosexuality is a sin, then I shouldn't partake in homosexuality. Right. But that's just for me. That's not for me to tell Andres what a sin is. Like, he has his own conscience that he gets to live with. And if homosexuality is not a sin for him, then, by all means. But it's not for me to tell Andres what's right and wrong, as long as he's not harming other people.
Right.
But, I say that on a welcome call with everyone. I say, hey, I'm going to explain this business to you. And if you're comfortable with what you're doing, then I'll invite you to do it. If you're still skeptical and you're not like for it, I would rather you not do it, because I'd rather, I don't need to make money on someone thinking that they're doing something wrong or they're acting out of integrity. So like, I'm a huge proponent on that. I'm like, I know what I'm doing is not wrong or bad, but like, if someone thinks that they're breaking some kind of rules, or they think that, they're whatever, it'll deteriorate their integrity. And that's where sickness comes from. That's where, like, people have like that's where sickness
And
brews
it's bad
from.
for PR. Like, it's just in general bad for, any business. This is like, I'm not saying, that people should like go, like, that you're doing anything wrong. I'm saying in general, in any business, like, if you are recruiting people who are not excited about what you're doing and it's really eating at them internally, then that's probably not good. That's why a lot of people leave, like, Northwestern Mutual.
If I recruited someone in Southwestern and I steamroll and bulldozered the person into coming and working with me, they're better off not being in the organization.
Yeah, 100%.
They're going to cause a bunch of problems in my organization.
Oh, it's bad.
They're going to be,
They're so nag. Yeah.
Is only as strong as its weakest link. So when, like, I learned as I got older, as I got a little more successful, that I should be selective with business. And I would rather not work with somebody that is going to weaken, a bad apple spoils the bunch. So I've learned, like, hey, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. And, if you like it and you're with it, do it. If you're not, like, I don't need another person. I'm gonna be completely fine. My phone is ringing off the hook. I literally had like 7 WhatsApp messages from people like during this Zoom call where people are like, "Hey, I have a friend that's interested in the opportunity. Can you jump on a 3-way call with us?" Yeah, of course. So I'm like, I don't need to sign up people just for the purpose of signing them up. I sign people up because I offer people a service that they want to be a part of. Like, I don't need a steamroll. I don't need a bulldoze. Like, that was something that, we've all grown out of those stages, right? Where, when I was first recruiting, I'm like, yes, I got one. Someone signed up a DA, yay. And, then I got to the point where I'm like, I only really want to be working with people that I want to be spending my time with. And those are people that understand what I'm communicating and are with how I'm communicating it. And if they're not, that's okay. It's not like we're not friends. We just don't need to, we just don't need to be like connected in this area. We can be connected in other areas, as well. So that's just,
man.
That's me, like what I believe and, who I am deep down.
I think that's important, and I appreciate that mentality because that's, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that integrity. So, hell yeah, man. Holy shit. Dude, good for you. Enjoy Colombia. We're probably gonna call. Yeah, we'll close this one up here real quick. I want to give a quick shout out to you, and I want to congratulate you on your movie, dude. The
Thank you.
success of it is so awesome. I'm excited to. Hey, please let me know when I can access it publicly. I know there's some stuff going on post production that you guys are working on right now. Yeah. So, but if you guys want to learn a little bit more about it, Replica is the name of the movie, starring Mickey Rourke. And so you guys can go find it. We'll post a link to the trailer below. I'm sure if it's not on YouTube, it probably is on YouTube, but we'll post it wherever it is that people can go find it so they can learn a little bit more about it. And if they want to get a hold of you, we'll also put a link there to find you. Maybe they want to learn more about what you're working on currently, your Airbnb business, and then, of course, how to get access to the movie. We'll put it on there, too. So if you guys want to check it out, you can totally do that as well.
I love messages. I love meeting new people, like strangers or friends I haven't met yet. So, like, seriously, reach out. I will find a way to connect with you on something you really love. So I promise I'll be the easiest person to talk
to. Dude, that's awesome, bro. Hey, man, I appreciate you jumping back on here. You're our first official third solo. That's awesome. Let's go.
Yes.
Oh, man. I love the sweater. And by the time this airs, that sweater is going to be
I know. It's going to air just in time for Christmas. So Replica is a Christmas movie, by the way. It's a Christmas movie. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome, I don't know. There's some argument there. It's a movie that takes place during.
It's like Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's like
it's a slight step down of Die Hard being a Christmas movie. But yeah, it does take place during Christmas time. So
perfect. Oh man. Well, that's so, man. Well, awesome. Guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. We'll talk to everyone. Hopefully you guys check out the next episode coming up. I'm not exactly. Oh, Meredith Kelly is going to be the next one on the air. So hopefully you guys enjoy that one. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone. Bye.